Hi Hannah, why are you so upset?
Hi Ramana, I've been copying this data for 2 days now and I'm exhausted. My system's storage is really slow.
Well, why don't you get an SSD?
My system storage is already an SSD, but it's copying very slowly. I want to upgrade. I've been thinking about this since yesterday, and I've searched a lot and come across many brands, but I don't know which one to choose to be sure I'm making the best purchase and getting good transfer speeds. Also, every website I go to, I find a different model and think it's good, but when I check benchmarks, they recommend another model. Now I don't know which one to choose. I'm so confused. Can you help me?
Okay, coincidentally, I've been searching for the best NVMe SSD to introduce on my channel for the past 2 days and testing it in my workshop. It's really interesting for me to see that this work of mine is now useful to you. Let me give you a few suggestions. Before I suggest an NVMe SSD to you, there are a few things I need to tell you. The speed of data transfer depends on several factors, and you can't just say, I'm going to buy the best and most expensive one, so now I'll have the highest speed. The type of work and activity is important in choosing. You should also pay attention to the version or generation of the connection type. You need to have enough information about your motherboard to know which NVMe SSD models it supports. Don't pay too much attention to advertising. Because advertising is often not accurate, they just focus more on sales. Information provided by users is more reliable. It's good to keep these points in mind. 1. Pick a compatible interface. Look at your user manual or a database like the Crucial Memory Finder to determine what types of SSD your computer supports. 2. 500 gigabytes to 2 terabytes. 1 terabyte is the practical minimum for any PC build that costs more than $500, perhaps one of the best PC builds. 2 terabytes is the best SSD capacity for anyone that can spend $200 plus on a drive. 500 gigabytes is the bare minimum anyone should consider at any price. 4 terabytes drives have also plummeted recently, so good deals abound. 3. M.2 SSDs are the fastest. M.2 PCIe NVMe SSDs are the most common type of SSD on modern systems. These small, rectangular drives look like sticks of RAM, only smaller. They are usually 80 mm long by 22 mm wide, described as size 2280, but some may be shorter or longer, so make sure you get one that matches your slot. 4. SATA is the slowest. SATA isn't as fast as an M.2 SSD, but the majority of desktops and mini laptops support 2.5-inch SATA drives. Samsung 990 Pro. Samsung hit back at its competitors with this impressive update to the 980 Pro. New hardware and new options, including a heatsink with RGB and a 4 TB variant, have allowed Samsung to retake the M.2 SSD crown. Performance is excellent across the board, setting a few new performance records, such as with 4K random read performance. In our testing, the drive was consistent, power efficient, and cool. Samsung has also updated its software for this drive, giving it the best SSD toolbox available, and the drive is backed by a competent warranty and decent support. $20 extra for a heatsink and RGB is a good deal, and Samsung will likely discount this drive over time. Competing PCIe 5.0 drives on the market offer faster performance, but they still carry a premium. Western Digital Black SN850X. Western Digital has taken its popular Black SN850 SSD and turned it up to 11. The Black SN850X leverages an improved controller and newer flash to get the most out of the PCIe 4.0 interface. Performance is improved across the board, and the drive rivals most of the top contenders in the PCIe 4.0 market. There's also a heatsink option that comes with RGB at 1 TB and 2 TB. WD also supports the SSD with its decent dashboard application and a respectable 5-year warranty. The M.2 Black SN850X was a bit pricey at launch, however, with a daunting MSRP, but those prices have largely come down. The touted Game Mode 2.0 feature felt incomplete in our testing, although WD ensures us that this will improve with future firmware updates. All in all, this is a good compromise if you can't find the Samsung 990 Pro. Crucial T705. The Crucial T705 is the fastest drive we have tested to date, finally breaking the 14 GB S barrier. Careful work with Physon's Max 14 reference SSD design has led Crucial to eke out even more performance, taking the excellent T700, a previous fastest SSD position holder, up a notch. The optional heatsink design remains passive, which is a bonus, and you can also purchase the drive bare. Aside from the solid sequential performance, the T705 also has good sustained performance and can reach an incredible 550K 800K random read and write IOPS at 2 TB. This is the fastest drive for now, but there will be others. The Sabrent Rocket 5 is not too far behind. And there are drives built on non-Phison controllers like the InnoGrid IG5666-based Team Group T-Force GE Pro that also promise over 14 GB S of potential throughput. PCIe 5.0 drives remain an enthusiast product due to cost and availability concerns, and so far, they have proven inefficient and unwise for laptops and the PS5. Still, if you want the fastest consumer storage you can buy, the T705 is the fastest drive on the market. Sabrent Rocket 5. The Sabrent Rocket 5 has the distinction of providing the fastest direct-to-TLC write performance we have ever seen. During the longest of workloads, it can average write speeds of 4.45 GB S, outclassing any PCIe 3.0 drive in existence and beating our previous high points with TLC flash with either 4.0 or 5.0 SSDs. It's otherwise similar to other drives based on the Phison E26 controller, but it's at the upper end of those, too. This allows it to provide excellent all-around performance with direct storage optimized firmware for future-proofing. It has the same downsides as other ultrafast drives, namely high power consumption and poor power efficiency. Idle power consumption in a desktop PC, which is the most likely destination for the drive, remains quite high. The Rocket 5 can also put out a lot of heat when it's pushed. If you can provide an ample heatsink, though, this drive will run cool enough even under sustained workloads without any throttling. This makes it one of the fastest overall drives on the market and the absolute fastest in extended heavy workloads. Crucial T500. The Crucial T500 combines cutting-edge flash with a customized controller that manages to be power efficient with just 4 channels, but also squeezes in the coveted performance-boosting drum cache. The T500 is also a single-sided drive with TCG Opal support, making it perfect for professional laptop use. Many laptops are still stuck with PCIe 3.0 slots, and that's fine. The T500 will be even more efficient when run at 3.0, and its benefits, aside from bandwidth potential, do not disappear. While the T500 does offer a heat-sinked version, which we have in our all-around best SSD category, you'll be going bare for a laptop. In this respect, it can even be better than drumless drives, as the T500's controller has more surface area and a metal IHS to prevent controller overheating. It's simply the finest drive for laptops at this time unless you really want more horsepower. That's on the menu, too, especially once the 4 TB version arrives. Sabrent Rocket 4. The Sabrent Rocket 4 replaces the original Rocket 4 with a faster, more power-efficient design. Although this is a drumless drive, the performance is excellent, and the drive's single-sided nature makes it great for laptops. This is an easy drop-in part that falls short of the T500 only in its omission of DRAM, but luckily, DRAM isn't as much of a requirement as it once used to be. The Rocket 4 also tops out at only 2 terabytes of capacity. The T500 promises 4 terabytes this year, and there are some good 4 terabytes options like the Lexar NM790 already available. Crucial T700. The Crucial T700 was the first 12GB S drive we reviewed, and it still remains one of the fastest drives we've ever tested. It's also the first and only 4 terabytes drive of its caliber that we tested. It's been challenging to get 4 terabytes of flash to maintain this level of performance, and 1 terabyte isn't enough to really get the most out of a Gen 5 SSD like this. That leaves 2 terabytes as the only real solution, but there is a lot of demand for higher capacities as part of a storage upgrade. At this time, the T700 can best meet that role for PCIe 5.0 SSDs, given its relatively affordable price at the 4 terabytes capacity. The T700 won't be the very fastest drive possible as we begin to see more 14+ GB S options roll out. But it is still very fast, and faster than all Gen 4 and many Gen 5 SSDs. It has a nice passive heatsink option and the warranty you would expect, so no real compromises there. You're paying a lot extra for the PCIe 5.0 bandwidth, though, but if you want a drive that will hang around a while with its direct storage optimized firmware, then the T700 is the best option. If you don't need that much bandwidth, stick with the excellent Samsung 990 Pro for top 4 terabytes performance. Team Group MP44. The Team Group MP44 is one of those drives that remains a value champion just for being in the right place at the right time. It feels like a natural successor to the Team Group MP34, a drive that was once the most popular 4 terabytes choice among budget PCIe 3.0 drives. The MP44 is even better than that, though, as it has a more reliable controller with up-to-date flash. As such, performance is good everywhere it matters, and the drive is power efficient, too. It's probably not the best SSD for laptops as the controller can act as a hotspot, but otherwise it's a good choice at any capacity. However, it faces more competition below 4 terabytes. There are faster drives either way, but it's difficult to argue about the MP44's price. Its most direct rivals would be the Patriot Viper VP4300 Lite, the Lexar NM790, and the AdLink A93, but it generally beats them all with its lower cost, particularly at the coveted 4 terabytes. Team Group MP44L. While the Team Group MP44 is the value champion if you want the newest hardware and the fastest PCIe 4.0 speeds, going with its smaller sibling, the MP44L, is a good choice if budget is your top priority. Neither drive has DRAM, but both perform well enough that, in most cases, you'll notice no difference between the MP44L and more expensive drives. There are no real performance pitfalls here, and, further, the drive is efficient and single-sided for laptops or the PS5. It's an easy pickup on sale. The downside is that there are faster DRAM-less PCIe 4.0 drives around, like the Lexar NM790, AdLink A93, and Patriot Viper VP4300 Lite. However, extra power is often inconsequential if you're on a budget. The MP44L competes more directly with WD's Blue SN580, Black SN770, and Blue SN5000, as well as drives that share the MP44L's hardware like the Silicon Power UD90 and AdLink S90 Lite. But sometimes these drives have swapped to QLC at higher capacities. The UD90 certainly has. The MP44L usually comes out on top as the best value, though. Western Digital Black SN850. Western Digital took its popular black SN850 SSD and turned it up to 11, but luckily for value seekers, the price isn't nearly as extreme. The current $156 price on Amazon for the 2TB model is a great deal, even if it's now $25 more than it cost last year. The black SN850X uses an improved controller and newer flash to get the most out of the PCIe 4.0 interface, thus delivering excellent performance with the Sony PlayStation 5. WD improved performance across the board. And the drive comes with a heatsink option at 1TB and 2TB capacity points. WD also supports the SSD with a solid 5-year warranty that will let you game with peace of mind. This drive is made for the PlayStation 5, and while it can be a bit pricier than budget options, overall, it's still our top pick for the PS5. It's also fast for gaming on a PC, particularly with direct storage starting to become useful. So this drive is plenty attractive. WD has taken the course of releasing an officially licensed SN850p SSD. That drive is a glorified heat-sinked SN850X, and you should only pick it if you want to heatsink at 4TB. Even then, it's far cheaper to get a bare SN850X and add your own heatsink. Kingston KC3000. When it first launched in late 2021, the Kingston KC3000 was one of the fastest SSDs around. Today, it doesn't necessarily stand out on its own, using common hardware that's been a PCIe 4.0 SSD staple for quite some time. Today, it doesn't necessarily stand out on its own. Using standard hardware that's been a PCIe 4.0 SSD staple for quite some time, it has a Phison E18 SSD controller paired with 176-layer Micron TLC NAND. However, this mature platform performs very well in the PS5, but you'll likely want to add your own heatsink. The KC3000 comes in a wide range of capacities, from 512 GB to a beefy 4TB model. That should be enough for most gamers, though if you want an 8TB drive, we suggest looking into the Inland Gaming Performance Plus that comes in that capacity and costs $859. Ouch! The KC3000 may not sparkle and shine like the newest PCIe 4.0 SSDs. This drive is a good value for PS5 and desktop gaming. The SN850X and 990 Pro might be slightly faster in some metrics, with the SN850X getting the edge thanks to slightly lower pricing. There are a lot of other drives with the same hardware combination that we've tested under Windows 11, but we haven't yet tested most of these with the PS5. These include the Corsair MP600 Pro LPX, Corsair MP600 Pro XT, Inland Gaming Performance Plus, Kingston Fury Renegade, NetAC NV7000, PNYCS 3140, Sabret Rocket 4 Plus G, Seagate Firecuda 530. Silicon Power X-Power XS70, and Team Group A440 Pro. Of these, the Inland Gaming Performance Plus 2TB at $139 and the Silicon Power XS70, 2TB at $139 currently have a slightly lower price. Though we haven't tested those with the PS5 due to no longer having the SSDs in our inventory, which is why the KC3000 gets the nod, but the drives are all basically the same. Newer drives are more power efficient, like the Lexar NM790 and Crucial T500. Those also come in heatsink optional flavors, though we think it's worth investing in cooling for the PS5 for long-term use. While it's not our top pick, the Kingston KC3000 hardware provides solid pricing, great performance consistency, it's readily available, and it has good support. Crucial P310 2230 SSD. The Crucial P310 came as a bit of a surprise, but a welcome one. M.2 2230 SSDs have ratcheted up in popularity ever since Valve's Steam Deck launched, and now there are more portable gaming systems than ever. There's also Microsoft Surface Pro line and some laptops that take M.2 2230 or M.2 2242. This drive can be extended up to M.2 2280 if needed, which used to mean going to eBay for OEM options like the WD-SN740. This hasn't been the case in a while, but finding a decent 2 TB drive has remained difficult. The P310 handles that challenge like a champ. Sure, it's QLC based, which means it's not quite as fast or consistent as it could be, but it's more power efficient than the TLC based WD Black SN770M and has more throughput. In fact, it's the fastest 2 TB M.2 2230 SSD we've ever tested. We expect the updated Corsair MP600 Mini would beat it, but the P310 has better availability and should be less expensive. It's fast enough where it matters, which makes it the best option if you're looking purely for capacity, but your host system should be able to take PCIe 4.0 drives to fully benefit. Corsair MP600 Mini E27T. Corsair's second run at the MP600 Mini, now with a faster controller and flash, is an example of how to do things right. It takes M.2 2230 SSDs to the next level in terms of performance while maintaining excellent levels of power efficiency. To top it off, it brings TLC flash at up to 2 TB in a single-sided package. Previously, it was necessary to go with QLC flash, which in some cases is slower than TLC flash or the power-hungry WD Black SN770M, which in any case isn't as fast. This isn't as big a deal with the PCIe 3.0 Steam Deck, as you can't reach the full potential of today's drives with that interface. The new MP600 Mini comes at a price, though. Literally, it costs a bit more than the competition. The least expensive way to get this level of performance is to go with the crucial P310, the best choice for M.2 2230 on any PCIe 4.0 platform if you want the highest capacity and 7 GB S. For a 3.0 platform like the Deck and TLC Flash, the Black SN770M remains solid. If you want the best performance possible, then the updated MP600 Mini is the way to go. For the time being, it is even good for M.2 2242 with an extender. Otherwise, the native Rocket Nano 2242 will do the trick at 1 TB. Corsair MP600 Pro LPX. The Corsair MP600 Pro LPX has come a long way since our original review. Its performance has been straightened out, and Corsair has also added an 8 TB SKU. The drive has good availability and fair pricing, which is what helps it stand out in this category. While there are many drives similar to it, including our original pick, the Seagate Firecuda 530, which is now hard to find, Corsair has focused more on simply having the drive available. Throw in a heatsink in black or white to match your decor, and you have an attractive and very consistent all-around performer. What makes this drive good for workstations is that it has a powerful 8-channel controller with DRAM in an era when 4-channel DRAM-less drives are becoming more popular. PCIe 5.0 SSDs still carry too much of a premium. The MP600 Pro LPX also has tried and tested hardware that's mature and reliable, which isn't the case with some IG5236-based drives like some Silicon Power XS70S. Corsair also offers this drive from 500 GB up to 8 TB, which gives a ton of flexibility to suit your needs. It's not power efficient by today's standards, but this isn't a huge factor for workstations and HETs, making it a safe choice.